Hi everyone, I want to talk about menopause. Menopause. You've heard about it, right? You've read about it, or you're experiencing it, or your mom, your aunt. What? Okay, let's go. Okay, someone is confused saying, what is menopause all about? I know the women are not. Okay, meno from menses, pause for cessation. So menopause is a complete and permanent stoppage of menses for nothing less than a year. Other possible causes of lack of menses should have been ruled out before making that diagnosis. For example, physiological and pathological reasons for menstrual stoppage. If there is complete stoppage for nothing less than a year before age of 40, it is referred to as premature ovarian failure. I will go into details of how that will happen later. The average age of menopause is 51 years. It is preceded by irregular menses in otherwise regular cycles and mostly in the fifth decade of life or the onset of the sixth decade. There's what we call perimenopause, that is around or surrounding the period of complete cessation, and that lasts between 2 and 8 years before the menses will permanently stop after. Being in menopause means you now lack menses for complete 1 year. Pathophysiology. Ovarian production of estrogen has stopped. There's decreased estrogen negative effect on hypothalamic pituitary ovarian axis. Therefore, FSH and LH will go on unchecked. So there will be increased FSH and LH. They are supposed to be checked or controlled by the level of estrogen, but the level of estrogen has dropped now because the ovary is no longer producing. So FSH and LH will be high. LH will lead to increased androgen release, and the generating Teca cells will no longer respond. Perimenopause. Peri means surrounding or around, and in this case, around the time of menopause, that will be a time that is variable. It could be between 2 years to 8 years before a complete stoppage. And the complete stoppage is what we refer to as menopause if a woman had cessation of menses for good 1 year, then she's now in menopause. Menses will be regular during perimenopausal stage. Hormones are just fluctuating. Then symptoms will start with vasomotor instability. So, what will happen? Around the period of menopause, vasomotor instability will present with hot flashes in 80% of women. There will be night sweats, sleep disturbances, formication, that is sensation of insect crawling over the skin, nausea, and palpitations. This could be very, very troubling for many women, and they tend to uh, become worried because they have to adjust to this uncomfortable situation. You will see a woman who complain that it's too hot, and the next moment she say it's too cold, or she'll say it's too cold, and few minutes or hours later she'll be asking you to turn on the heater. So it's a kind of fluctuating scenario where hot flashes, night sweats, sleep disturbances, if you just sleep and wake up in the middle of the night, is distressing, and it's actually new now to them. So it's a time that they need the support and encouragement. We'll go over the treatment very soon. So there could be dyspareunia, itching in the private part, dryness in the private part, spotting, and bleeding after a relationship with a partner. Then they can be going to the washroom or toilets or gents, as the case might be, wherever you are located. Well, they'll be emptying the bladder more frequently, and they have urgency and can even have incontinence. It's a serious situation that can make some people to become depressed. So they can come down with osteoporosis and be having joint pains all around the period of menopause. There may be muscle pain, associated back pain is possible, and the breast will decrease in size, the mood will change. Whose mood will not change when you are passing through all these unexpected changes within 1 or 2 years, contrary to the type of life they've been having before now. Some will even become so depressed and anxious. There's possibility of fatigue, decreased libido, memory loss, and weight changes. They can also have menstrual migraine. Bone mineral loss is highest at 1 year before the final menstrual period. So they are prone to more fracture around that time and beyond. Cardiovascular risk will increase, and that is the leading cause of death in them. And to those who are having one or two or more cardiovascular problems before this very time, it's likely going to get worse. Osteoarthritis, impaired balance, and subsequent falls. And you see where they need help. Someone who is already prone to osteoporosis with bone mineral loss is now having frequent falls again. Then fracture will be very common. Affected women can become aging and wrinkles will increase. There will be decreased central fat distribution. The investigations that we could carry out are many, and I will mention the key ones right now. I have said earlier that ovary will be failing, therefore the level of estrogen will drop, and estrogen is expected to have negative effects on hypothalamic pituitary ovarian axis. When that is lost, then follicle stimulating hormone and luteinizing hormone will be carrying out their functions unchecked. So the level of follicle stimulating hormone will rise, while that of estrogen will decrease. For those who would think might be pregnant, particularly between the ages of 40 and 45, we will carry out serum beta human chorionic gonadotropin to rule out pregnancy, because pregnancy could be responsible for the delay or lack of menses. We will want to check the level of prolactin in case hyperprolactinemia is responsible for this. The symptoms of vasomotor instability could be that of hypothyroidism, and vanillin mandelic acid could be acid to rule out possibility of pheochromocytoma that will present with sudden headache, raised heart rate, increased blood pressure, and sweating. We will check what is happening to the clotting profile by checking INR and APTT and other factors in the liver, making liver function tests becoming necessary. Because as said earlier, as part of the symptoms is spotting and still bleeding during perimenopausal stage, though it is irregular. Ultrasound will be employed to rule out the possible cause of heavy bleeding here. What are the possible differential diagnoses here? Hypothyroidism, carcinoid syndrome, pheochromocytoma could give features similar to vasomotor instability, while cessation of menses could be as a result of hyperprolactinemia or pregnancy, and the spotting can be as a result of malignancy in the woman. Treatment. I will start with what you are familiar with on a daily basis. Okay, because vasomotor instability could be very troublesome. So let's start with the use of fan or air conditioning. When you feel hot, turn it on, and when you're feeling cold, turn it off. How about dressing in layers so that you take some off when you're hot and you add some when you feel cold? So you just adjust the way you put the layers based on what your body temperature is telling you, particularly from the hot flushes from within. No spicy food is just an advice, or at least you decrease it, because it's going to worsen the vasomotor instability. You'll be sweating more, having more hot flushes. Involve your partner in this trouble, because you now have a new life, and if you share the same room, then your mood will change. You should know about that from the beginning. Your sleeping pattern will become erratic or disturbed. You should be aware of that, so that when you are passing through this, it will not be too strange to him, and even other stuff that I can't talk about that you know yourself will all change as well. So it's better to involve him from the onset and get it solved together. Still on lifestyle changes, stop smoking. Stop smoking. We can embark on smoking cessation plan. Talk to your doctor, and I'll make a separate presentation on smoking cessation. Decrease alcohol intake to the barest one that you can still take, but low level. Increase your exercise. Walk around the mall, walk the dog, go to gym if you choose to. Your diet, maybe you see the dietitian or give you pamphlets or diet, with osteoporosis or menopause. bladder retraining because there's possibility of urgency, frequency, and incontinence. So things are changing now, and you have to change with that. So bladder retraining should be encouraged. Now, to those that are having vasomotor instability and are really disturbed about that, hormone replacement therapy will be good. There'll be a separate presentation on that, but that should be the second line. I will not advise my patient to start with hormone replacement therapy. After trying all we have discussed in just about 3 minutes ago, then we can start selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors or venlafaxine or gabapentin, propranolol, clonidine, and to those who are familiar with and are comfortable with that, acupuncture. Vaginal atrophy. You can give Premarin cream, vaginal suppository, ring in form of S-string ring, lubricants in form of repellents, and intravaginal laser. Osteoporosis will be handled in all women diagnosed with menopause, because that is one of the big problems that they will come down with. So from the onset, we're going to give this woman calcium at the level of 120 milligram per hour once daily, vitamin D at 800 international unit, alendronate 70 milligram weekly, and of course lifestyle changes as earlier discussed. Hormone replacement therapy will come as the second line, and that will be very necessary, mostly when there is vasomotor instability along with other problems. Naloxone is a selective estrogen receptor modulator, and we're going to use that because it works like estrogen on bones. That's what we're going to do to save the bones from frequent fractures secondary to osteoporosis. In case of decreased libido, lubricants could be given, and meeting with the spouse to discuss this is necessary as a way of psychotherapy. Some can prescribe testosterone cream or Paora and Andrea. In case of cardiovascular diseases, it will be treated appropriately. Referral could be made to cardiologists. Antidepressant for those who are depressed. In conclusion, it is a must for all women because we expect them to grow more than 50 years. In other words, any woman that will reach the fifth, sixth decade of life will likely pass through this. That's our expectation. Remember, whatever has a beginning must have an end. Once upon a time, this woman had informed the family, maybe the dad, the mom, or the friends, that she started menstruating, menarche. If there's menarche, there will be menopause. Go over this presentation once again, and please get ready, because the older you become, the closer you are to menopause. Thank you for listening to my presentation, and I wish that all partners will give these wonderful women the support they need. Kindly subscribe to my channel so that you can be getting these publications immediately they are released. Thank you.